Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Happy Hour. I'm your host, Chris Wright. So, thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to dig into the world of residential new construction. And a lot of you always have a lot of questions. To be honest, I haven't sold a residential new construction since prior to the pandemic. And so, honestly, I'm not an expert on it. And there are some people that are, and that's why we're having this show today. But a lot of questions I get are like, can I afford it? How do I go about buying a new construction house? Um, are they more expensive? How much will I need to put down? How do I finance it? Tell me about the rate locks and the rates and how all that stuff works. How long will it even take to build? Should I just buy a resale instead? Or what if I have to sell my house? I don't, really know when to put it on the market, any of that, right? I don't have the answers to these questions, and I'm not an expert on the subject, and neither are most real estate agents, to be honest. So this is why when I have a new construction client, I just grab them by the hand. I'll meet them at a realtor or a new construction site, and I just go to someone that I trust. So one guy that I trust, he's my next guest. He's been a new construction expert. He's been selling residential real estate for over almost 20 years. He's sold almost $1 billion in residential new construction. He's won several awards and accolades. His dad has been building homes for over 40 years, and he's had a front row seat to all of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to talk to our guest, Joe Bordeaux. We'll be right back. This is the Real Estate Happy Hour, and I'm your host, Chris Wright. It's a fun place where we talk real estate, pop culture, and what's trending. Hey, I might even give you some good advice, so grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and take a listen. Unless you're driving, of course. I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, today's show is brought to you, sponsored by Premium Mortgage. You have any questions about financing your new construction or your VA, USDA, conventional loans, or even an investment property, give Jeff Dorrance a call at Premium Mortgage. And if you want information on sponsoring our show, just give me a shout. You know how to reach me, inbox, text, give me a call, whatever. What's up, Mr. Joe Bordeaux? How you doing, buddy?
Good, Chris. How are you? Good to see you.
You too as well. It's been a long time. I see you on Facebook. I see you on social media. You're doing your thing. You're pretty busy, right?
Yes, sir. We are. We're always trying to keep busy. We've got a lot of mouths to feed over here at Bordeaux Builders, so we
Awesome.
are. We're
Awesome.
going.
Good. So let's jump right into it. This is the Real Estate Happy Hour, so we try and stay in a tight window. You have things to do. I have things to do. Talk to me about a little bit about how you got into residential new construction and what's that journey been like?
So my father owns Bordeaux Builders now for almost 40 years plus, and I actually used to build the homes with my bare hands, and then I got sick. I had like a diverticulitis surgery when I was 19, 20 years old, and I couldn't lift anything for a long time. My father's a very he's a businessman. He goes, you know what? I'm not going to take care of you. You better figure out something else to do. So I went and got my real estate license, and he wouldn't even give me a listing when I first started, to be honest with you.
Good.
And we didn't talk for a good period of time. And then back then, I worked for Coldwell Banker, Mark Phoenix, and I was rookie of the year back then. And over 20 years ago, he went to my dad and had lunch with my dad and says, "Hey, your son's got a special gift. You better give him a shot." So my father gave me a shot out in a development out in Northumberland. And I sold about 10 houses in about 3 months. And my father hired me to represent the rest of his products, and it's been history since. So it comes natural; it's in the blood. So I really enjoy it, and it's the only thing I know really in life is how to build a house, how to sell a house, and especially new construction.
So you're a dad yourself now, right?
Yes, I have 3 kids. Yep.
Awesome. So would you do it differently if your kids said they want to get into real estate? Would you groom them into the industry a little different than you brought in?
That's a hard question. My boys probably, and my girls Probably treat them both the same and make them work for it. Yes, because to be very honest with you, and I'm a very open black and white person. Things happen in life where sometimes you lose what you created, such as divorce, financial issues, whatever it might be. And if my father didn't do what he did to me when I first started and just handed it to me, I wouldn't know how to be able to recreate it. And I went through a period in my life where I did lose a large majority of my income in a financial state where if it was just handed to me, I wouldn't be able to recreate it again, and I would be up up the creek without a paddle. So yes, I am happy to way that I did learn how to do it, because I did go through a period in my life where I had to recreate it, and if he was just given to me, I wouldn't know how to do that.
Yeah, I get it. Same thing. I have a tattoo on my arm that says "reinvent yourself" because I've had to do it over and over and over again. So I can appreciate that. So let's talk about the pandemic, COVID-19. What new construction was before then. I know that during the pandemic, materials had gone up, cost had gone up, time to build had moved to an extensive time period. So talk to me about how things have changed in residential new construction since the pandemic.
Since the pandemic, obviously the labor was an issue because we couldn't get people to work. The other issue was getting materials. We couldn't get windows, we couldn't get screens, we couldn't get appliances. A lot of the stuff was back ordered.
Mm-hmm.
And the lumber went way out of sight. I remember a lumber package was like $67,000 for us to build a 2,200 square foot house. That's just for the lumber. And then it went to, $120,000 for the same lumber package.
Right.
So now those things have, they evened out a little bit, but not as much as where they were before. They're never going to go back where they were before. So the products, our cost on the products the consumer is going to eat it, unfortunately, because we couldn't get them as cheap as we used to be able to.
Right. So my clients call me, whether they're a referral client or repeat client, they call me because they trust me. They want to buy a house. Chris, I want to buy a house, but this time I want to buy a new construction. That process of handing them off, sometimes it's uneasy for a buyer's agent to hand them off to just someone and go, here, go to Joe, he'll take care of you. But what is that process that you appreciate for realtors that bring you their customers? Talk about that.
Like what we do at Bordeau Builders is that what a realtor needs to do with us for our company, I can't speak for every other builder in the Capital District. What I can speak for is how we do business. And how we do business is that we want you to register your client. We want to know that you're representing your client. And we want you to bring the client through the site. We just don't want you just dropping us off a name during an open house, especially during an open house. Because when we have our open houses for the new construction, we're trying to create new business without realtors. We don't want a client coming in that we already have all their information and we already know who they're represented by you. And then now I have 4 buyers without realtors just walk out the door because I didn't give them their time. I didn't give them the time of day. So we really like to set up a time to meet with you and your clients. How we do things at Bordeaux Builders is that you bring your client in, we'll show them the different floor plans. We'll walk lots with them. We get them into a contract at that point. And then you and I both disappear. My father's office will go ahead and take over, and he wants direct communication with that buyer. If you're on vacation, I'm on vacation, and then he's waiting a day for me to send me an email, and then I'm waiting a day to send it to you, and then you're waiting a day to send it back to me, and then so on and so forth. It's cutting that much time off the build process, or adding that much time to the build process. So he wants direct communication with his clients at that time. You and I, once the contract is signed, we disappear. We go and we sell more houses for them, or continue the business that you're doing, and we don't come back into the picture unless there's an issue, which is very few that there is, or we show back up at the final walkthrough. So it's hands-on. We have an in-house interior decorator and a selections person that goes and picks all the selections with the clients and help them and hold their hand throughout the whole entire process. And then any questions that they have, they're dealing directly with the builder.
And what kind of updates does the real estate agent get? How will I know what's going on, when it's happening, when I should be
We
involved, I guess?
we check. Really, we've been in business so long. It's really kind of a streamlined process of an assembly wheel. We're scheduling the person from digging the foundation to the people cleaning the house at the end, and everything is very streamlined. We've been doing it so long
Hmm.
that it's very rare that you and I have to step back in.
Cool. So, as a consumer, what are some of the key factors I should consider when deciding whether I want to purchase a new construction property or a resale? How's that work? What things should I be thinking about?
Well, when you're buying a resale, you got to realize if you go to have to move out of that house 10 years down the road from now, that house is 10 years older than when you bought it.
Hmm.
If you buy a new construction, it's only 10 years old. Um, so those are the things that you're going to want to think about: new roofs, new windows, new carpets, new painting, new all that. When you're buying a new construction, everything's going to be brand new, and you're going to have the warranty of the builder.
Hmm.
Most builders have to warranty their products per New York State law 6 years. Anything on our first year, we come back and we will fix if it's not self-inflicted. The only thing we don't do is paint. So anything that there is painting issues, you are responsible for that. But such as nail pops, stress cracks, it is made out of wood. We do take a lot of precautions to prevent all of that happening. But it's made out of wood. It is going to move a little bit, and we're talking very, very minor, size of a pencil liner on major carrying loads. So we'll come back, we'll patch it, we'll sand it, and you'll never even know that it happened.
All right, that's great, man. Thank you. Um, so, a lot of people believe that the whole new construction process that it's priced out of the reach of the average middle class worker. Is that true? Like, can you your first time home buyer get a new construction, and what's that look like? What would you recommend to someone who they just think that it's too far reaching and I'll never be able to afford one? What are you telling these people?
I sell a lot of houses to people that are, I just had one, two 23-year-old kids just walked through my office last week. They work at Regeneron. They both work at Regeneron.
Hmm.
And they came and bought, a $480,000 house from us.
Nice.
What we require down is 10% down.
Hmm.
We hold the rest until closing. You do not need to get a construction loan with us. Where I see where a lot of people are saying what you're stating is that it's priced out of reach is when you get into those construction loans.
Hmm.
Construction loan can be priced at anywhere from 9 to 10% with most banks, and then you're
Right.
paying payments throughout the whole entire construction process. Us
Oh,
at Bordeaux Builders, we're a very liquid company. We've been in business for 50 years. We finance the whole entire build.
I did not know
Just
that.
like, yep, or it's just like buying a resale. So you put 10% down with us. We hold the rest until closing, and then at closing, the bank goes and pays us out of the mortgage that you take.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I learned something. What other misconceptions are out there about buying a home?
About buying a new construction home.
Yeah, what are there some misconceptions or myths or misunderstandings about it that you
I
hear
think a
often?
lot of people think that they have to put 20% down, and I think that they price themselves right out of it.
Hmm.
Um, some, I think the misconception of the 20% is not true. We have, several banks such as, Trustco, I know does 10%. For Homestead Funding, Catskill Hudson, those are some of my favorite banks that we use that do the 10% down. They have no PMI,
Hmm.
so that the PMI is the principal mortgage insurance, and then this way it takes all that a lot of those myths out, because a lot of these other local banks they want, or even big powerhouses such as like Bank of America.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not familiar with what they're doing now, but I know in the past they did require 20% down to get
Yeah.
rid of that PMI, or the interest rate was higher. I know that some of these other banks they do require just the 10%. There's no PMI, and that gets you right into a nice, comfortable payment, and you're not dealing with any of those junk fees.
Okay. All right. And do you have any particular advice for first time buyers that's interested in purchasing a new construction?
Advice: what you're going to want to do when you're building a new construction is you want to know exactly what the house is going to cost. You got to make sure you go down through your standard features. With all of my clients, I explain to them exactly what they're getting for the price. Such as, most builders are going to leave out the refrigerator, the dishwasher, and the washer and dryer. The refrigerator, the washer and dryer are going to be excluded on a new construction. Those are something that you're going to have to pay for out of pocket. Or you can roll them into the loan, but they're not included in the price of the house. So just being savvy with knowing what brokers do new construction. Us at Bordeau Builders, we're not going to smoke and mirror you. We're going to let you know it's right on the standard features page, what comes with the house, what doesn't come with the house. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure you know where your hard surfaces are going, if that's important to you, and just really understanding what the standard features are offering, because it's like buying a car. You see, the beautiful car with the 20-inch rims on the TV screen with the navigation system and the moonroof and the spoiler and all that. Yeah. They show you that car, but that's not the car you're getting.
Right.
So that's what all that fine print is. We don't have the fine print, but it's going to be very laid out that this is what you're going to get. Some of our floor plans are going to show things such as stone. There's never stone included on a face of a house. That is something that is a la carte. We can do it for you. So it's just really understanding what comes with a house for the price. So those things, depending on who the builder is, can be a little bit misleading, and you really want to be versed with a good realtor that knows how to point those things out to you and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Krankovich, we're not going to give you this, or this doesn't come with it. Let's get a price on it. So we price everything out on paper first, right, before you even sign the contract. Okay. So for instance, you wanted the stone, you want the side load garage, or you want the bigger porch, or anything that you might want in addition to what comes with the floor plan, we're going to price out ahead of time for you. You know exactly what the price is going to be, and you know exactly where you're going. We're not going to hit you with this change order game. I hear the change order game. That's what a lot of realtors are scared of for their clients. Right. And what the change order game is that all this stuff isn't included. We're made to believe that it was included. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to hit you for $1,000 change order fee plus whatever the product is if you want it. Right. Us at Bordeaux Builders, we're not in that business to do that. We're in the business to give you your dreams, and our slogan is to open the doors to your futures, so that you can have those beautiful birthday parties and those holidays, and open all those futures to your family. And we want to make this a reality, not a session that you don't like us.
I had a client one time. He was kind of disappointed in me, or disenchanted, I should say, because I wasn't able to negotiate with the builder about things. Like you said, well, can you see if they'll throw in that upgrade, or can you see if they'll throw in that appliance? I'm like, that's out of my wheelhouse. I can't do that. I was like, you're going to ruin my relationship with the builder if I do that.
Yeah, there's no negotiate with new construction. Do you go to Walmart and negotiate the price of orange juice? No.
Yeah. Okay. Now you said before the change, there's no change order, but when you are negotiating with the builder are negotiating with the client, you're sitting down with them, whatever you're going to iron out or whatever incentives you're going to give them, you do that during the sit down or at the beginning. You don't agree to anything after the fact. Once you put it to paper, you're done, right?
So we'll offer like specials. For instance, right now we're running we just ended our winter special. Anybody that came into us and signed a contract before the end of February, they got 10% off of all upgrades. So anything that they might upgraded, they received 10% off. So, if they put in, $100,000 worth of hardwood, they got $10,000 for free in hardwood. So stuff like that. But that depends on where the site is. The best time for your clients to sell, the best time for your clients to buy in new construction is when the site first opens or the site first ends. Those are the people that get the best deals. Because once the snowball's going down the hill, the builder's not giving any deals. Gotcha. I'll be very honest, very frank with you. And this is just inside information for your clients and for you, that us as a builder, that's how we're going to operate, is that those are the times to get the best deals if you're going to get any kind of deal. When you got a hot site where we're going to come right out of the gate and we're going to sell 10 houses, nobody's getting any deals. But if we do see that we need to get a site going, and what happens is that nobody wants to be the first person in the subdivision.
Okay.
Everybody's scared. That's what happens. So it takes us a little bit to get those developments rolling. Like I have a site in Stillwater right now, and we sold 3 houses in the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Now in one weekend we sold 4 houses in one weekend.
Yeah.
Because they're living there. Once the people move in, then everybody starts wanting to live there.
What is the fear? Why are people afraid to be the first ones?
I think it's anybody's the first one. Anything you're going to jump in the lake first. You're going to jump off the bridge first. I just think it's how us Americans think.
I heard something. I heard a rumor over the last few years, and maybe they didn't understand what was going on. Is that they contracted for one price and the price went up prior to completion. What would cause that to happen? That they agreed on 450,000 and building costs went up, and now it's 475. Is that a real thing?
That is a real thing with certain builders, not with us. I did hear of that. I can't really speak on my behalf of it. Me being a broker as well as the builder's son, I know that other builders did put escalation clauses within their contracts.
Okay.
So what an escalation clause is that anything additional cost to the builder, he would have to present those bills and show those bills of what their product increase was, and then he had the right to charge it. But the people knew about that before signing the contract. It's in the contract.
They pretend they didn't. They pretend they didn't know about it.
They didn't know about it?
Well, some say they didn't know about it, so I don't know.
Well, then their lawyer and their realtor didn't properly advise them, because it's in the contract. You just can't charge somebody more without having any kind of documentation to say you're going to charge them more.
Understood. Another thing that people are interested in: warranties and post-purchase support. What type of support and warranties do they get after the purchase?
So all of our houses come with a 6-year warranty, which is a New York State warranty. Windows falls out, roof caves in, foundation collapses, major stuff like that is warranted for 6 years. We've never had a claim in over 40 years of being in business. So we've never experienced any of those horrific things. Or we have a full-time staff that is, and then we also have an emergency line. Emergency line is for water or any kind of major heating problems or something that you can't cohabitate in the house. We'll be out there within hours. We're a local run company. We're not far from any of our developments. I would personally show up. My father or one of my brothers would be personally there.
Good. So I've gone to events like the Showcase of Homes, things like that, and you meet a lot of different builders and different, architects and designers and things like that. How do I select one to the other? Like, how do I know? I've met 17 builders. How do I select Bordeau over another company?
I would just go about how we build a house differently. I would say one builder is better than another builder. Right. I would say that what does that builder do differently and what is important to me? So some of the things of our core values, what is different from us that I see with other construction is that you'll never have a squeak in a Bordeaux builder's house. You build a $500,000 house, you walk up the stairs and everything's squeaking. All of our miters, so anywhere where the door jambs meet, where the crown molding meets, or the casing meets, there's very little caulk to no caulk. All of our miters are all dry fit. There's very little caulk to no caulk in them. Nail pops, we glue and screw all the sheetrock in all of our homes. So between the nail pops and the miters of the caulking, on a 2,500 square foot house, if you had to repaint and re-caulk everything, say if you had a nail pop on one on every wall or one every other wall, you got to screw it in, and then you got to patch it, sand it, and then repaint the wall. Right. Then if you did half the miters in the house, where on top of where the door meets, where the molding is, you got to caulk all those, resand it. You're talking a $13,000, $14,000 bill to get a painter in there.
Right. Wow.
After your first year, we don't have that in our houses. What we do is everything is dry fit. Everything is, all the studs are crowned the right way. So how the board grew is, you'll see how the board will grow, and then we crown them, all the boards in. So when the board goes to dry, because it's wood, it's made out of wood, it's going to dry. When you turn the heat on in the wintertime, especially in the Northeast, all the wood's going to shrink, it's going to move. We make sure everything's crowned the right way. All the sheetrock is glued and screwed, so the whole wall becomes one truss. The board
Hmm.
has less latency to turn in the wall when the whole wall is glued and screwed.
Right.
So that's how we eliminate a lot of our nail pops. Same thing with the flooring system. We use all wood bridging in the flooring. So the floor joists just want to turn like this
Hmm.
away from the floor. So you got your subfloor on top like this, and
Yeah.
then the board turns a little bit like this.
Right.
Then when you step on top of my hand, that's where your foot's going to go.
Hmm.
You're pushing the nail in and out of the 2x10 underneath the floor, and that's where you're getting a
Gotcha.
sweep. What we do is we lock in all the floor joists with wood bridging. We glue and staple it with an
Hmm.
X inside the basement, so that the boards can't go like this, so you're stepping down on it. So all those precautions, I have when you come into our new construction, I point out what we do differently than all the other builders. There's actually a YouTube video out there what we do differently than all the other builders. Because I have some builders I go against that are just their motto's different. We're a fully custom builder. We can modify
Right.
any floor plan. We can wipe the inside out of a whole floor plan and just take the face off of one house and a floor plan of another house, depending on if they're both ranches or both colonials or both first floor masters. And I can put them and integrate them together exactly how your client wants to live in the house. That's really what makes us special at Bordeaux Builders, is that we're one of the last fully custom builders around. Most builders out there, they're a production builder, or as they hear is a track builder. They tell you to pick a different floor plan. They won't even move a window. They won't even move a door. They're like, pick a different floor plan. They don't want to deal with it because it
Gotcha.
takes that much more time to build the house and redraw the house and everything. They have those production builders where they're building 100+ homes a year,
Hmm.
is that they have it down to the T, down to the nail, exactly what that house is going to cost. And they also have the timeline of where they can have that in their system where they have to redraw the floor plan again. So that creates more time. They have to get stamped by an engineer. There's a lot more time involved in
Hmm.
that. Us, we're more the client that we are building those fully custom homes, or semi-custom, where we're going to change anything that they want.
So speaking of personalization and customization, do you do private lots for private homes?
I would say 35% of our business is on people's own land,
Oh,
and what we
perfect. Perfect.
Yep. So we build, big developments that are 50, 60 lots, or, big townhouse communities. Along with, we have a site right now in Stillwater that's 26 lots. We had
Hmm.
another site out in Charlton, Burnt Hills area that was 50 plus lots. And then we had another 70 or another 25 across. So a total of 75 lots out there. So we do build those big developments, but then we do build those houses such as Lake George. We had
Hmm.
two houses on Lake George that were, way over $1 million. We had another one right next to the Riggy Mansion on North Broadway in downtown Saratoga that we built. The client owned their own lot. Sagadaga Lake, same thing. So we go all over the place, and we'll build on your own lot. Now, what we also do that's very unique is that we will finance the whole entire build. So what my dad will do is that he'll take your lot and put it in escrow with his attorney. So
Mm.
now you and my father will own your lot, and he will build on it for you with a 10% down. So you can go and get that end loan where you're not putting 20% down, or have to get a construction loan. That's the
That's
big thing.
interesting. That's that.
You get away from the construction loan, so now you're not making any payments during the build process.
I did not know that. Are you the only company that does that?
I'm pretty sure I haven't heard any other builder doing it. I'm pretty sure that we're the only builder in the Capital District that does that. Yes.
Is that a risk for your company?
Huge risk. Huge risk. If God forbid they get hit by a bus, now we're stuck. Now I got XYZ on their lot, and now we got to fight in litigation to be able to sell it to get our money back out.
Right.
Worst
Wow.
case scenario. So it is a risk. It is a risk, and it's a case by case basis. How if we're going to do it or not. We don't do it all the time, depending
Yeah.
on it has to fit the right scenario. The
Hmm.
builder does have the right to say no, I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to build it here. But I would say 98% of the time it's a yes.
So I asked some builders. I said, what are some significant challenges that they face? And most of them said timeline. Do you find that to be the same?
No, because the reason that our timeline is so tight is that we build the house on paper first.
Okay.
We know everything that's going in the house. I do not put a shovel in the ground until the client signs off on all their selections. They know exactly what's going in the house. I have their paint color, I have their siding color, I have their granite color, I have their cabinet color, roof color. Everything is picked.
Right.
I see where a lot of other builders fall into these timeline issues is that they can't get the client to pick their cabinet. They
Mm-hmm.
can't get the client to pick their granite. Now, the cabinets are one of the first thing that goes in the house, and it's the longest thing to get in the house. It takes
Right.
6 to 8 to get cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pick your cabinet, I can't even finish the house. So, or even start doing most of it. I can't put the flooring in. I can't do the plumbing. There's a lot of things that you can't do without the kitchen. So, we're a 6-month build time from your selections. Most
That's
builders
not
out
bad.
there,
That's not bad at all.
months.
So when I say to you, hey, Joe, I want to sell my house, you'll kind of help me with that process by saying it's a good time to put your house on the market. Of course, depending on where it is and its home value and all that kind of stuff. But I can get that kind of expertise from you guys.
Yes, yep. So I have a lot of realtors that bring me their clients, or if I'm representing the client, I help you out just as much as you're going to help me out. So
Okay.
You're bringing me the client. I'm going to tell you exactly how to market their house and when their house should be marketed. The rule of thumb is when the house is sheetrocked and taped, that's when you put their house on the market.
Great. Someone told me to ask you about eco-friendly houses or eco-friendly and sustainable houses. Is that something that you guys are into?
We are into it. We haven't done a lot with it, to be honest with you, because people see the cost of it and then they veer away from it.
Right.
But we're very capable of doing it, yes. Yeah.
Awesome. What about people who want to, consider a career in new construction building? Do you have some type of apprentice program or anything like that?
I do. I would say it takes about 2 to 3 years for me to fully train you.
Okay.
You got to know a lot of information. It's, the PSI, people are going to ask you questions
Mm-hmm.
that you would be astonished. Like, what is the PSI of the concrete?
I don't know.
3,500. Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that, you're going to have to know that you would never have any idea. What are the R values in the roof?
Mm-hmm.
What are the R values in the basement? What are the R values in the sidewalls? All that type of stuff that and it's a lot. It's a lot of information. And it takes me a really long time to train people because it's kind of foreign.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to answer it like that, especially when you're selling our houses start at $500,000.
Right.
And you're going, I don't know.
Right.
They're not going to feel confident in you. And if they don't feel confident in you, why are they going to buy a $500,000 house from you? So it's you got to be really knowledgeable of what the questions are going to be. And what I tell my new people, it's okay to say I don't know. I'd rather have you say I don't know than answer the question wrong, and then for you to go
Right.
For you to say, hey, you know what? That's a great question. Let me write that down. And me personally, being the builder's son, I can build a house with my bare hands. Literally, you give me a shovel, a couple hammers, and an excavator, and I can build. I've been doing it my whole life. I grew up on the job right from the age of 5 years old. I didn't have a mom growing up. I was in a pack and play when my dad was building the houses. My dad built the houses. He started the company from $66,000. My grandparents in retirement, and now we're this huge company 50 years later. So yes, I can do it, and I will not answer all the clients' questions. You know why?
Why?
They're not going to sign the contract today. I have no reason to follow up. I need a reason to follow up.
That is a good sales point altogether. That's great. Do codes and building codes and regulations, do they vary much from municipality to municipality, or are they pretty much the same across the board?
They're different. They're different. Depends on the town.
Okay, good.
They're close. Sometimes when we have we'll pull out the book and we go toe to toe with some of these building departments. You know what I mean? And some of them, there's certain municipalities that are very hard to deal with. We're not going to mention any names, so I don't want them blackballing me. But they're not all as friendly as one or the other. So
Gotcha.
some of them are very anti-development. You know, that's just how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. We're not going to mention any towns today, though.
The devils are in the details, right?
I'll never get another building permit in that town if I do.
Of course not. What for the real estate agents out there? What are you guys doing at Bordeaux? And I know your license is hung at Keller Williams, but what are you doing to market to real estate agents about new projects, new constructions, new developments, and things like that?
We actually we're putting a referral program together. Actually, we're going to be putting it in the MLS. We're going to be offering an additional fee to our local brokers if they bring us a contract by Memorial Day for my new site, Stillwater, Olympia Gardens. It's a 26 lot subdivision that has Forever Wild behind all of the lots. It also has sidewalks up and down both sides of the street. And there's over half a mile of walking trails through the Forever Wild. No one can build behind any of the lots.
Where is this, in Stillwater?
It's in Stillwater off of Route 75. It's called Olympia Gardens. It's probably one of our most beautiful sites that we've built in our career. And the reason that I say that is the location, first off, is that it's convenient to exit 11, exit 12.
Right.
Your minutes to downtown Saratoga. You're in downtown Saratoga within 15 minutes. You have all your local shopping. Everything's right there. Malta Medical is not far if medical is important to you. Just the location, and then the way that the lots are laid out, they are very, very treed. If you go into most of these builders, they clear cut everything. It looks like a wide open football field. I had a site, Honey Hollow, a couple years ago. It took me 6 years to sell out. Yeah, it took me 6 years to sell that place out. There wasn't one tree in sight. It was literally a wide open football field. And some people like that, and most people don't. Most people like the privacy of having the trees. I feel that our treed lots sell a lot better than the wide open football fields. I think people like that privacy. They like that feel, the mature trees, and so that's what really sets this project apart. It's right off of Route 75 in Stillwater, New York. It's if you go to BordeauxBuilders.com, you can click on Olympia Gardens. You can see it, everything. It's a cul-de-sac. There's only 26 lots, so it's a smaller development, and that's starting in the 489 range and up. Which is a great price range to start in the Capital District, and I think the biggest thing again is that how treed the lots are. You know, a lot of these places, it's way cheaper for us to go and just clear cut everything.
Right.
It's just to clear it all out, because then we don't have to worry about maneuvering around the trees, and for all of our utilities and everything, it's just open. And that's what I would say 90% of the builders do out there. They just clear cut everything. It's a lot less expensive.
Here's an area of contention. People want to know, should they hire a inspector to inspect your build?
They can, but it's honestly a waste of money. I tell everybody this. The town requires inspections throughout the whole. When we dig the foundation, when we put the footings in, when we put the footings in, when we pour the wall, when we tar the wall, everything is inspected by the town. We can't get to the next step until the town comes and gives us a sign off on that. Okay. So everything is inspected by your local municipalities in their building department. And they're inspecting all of our work throughout the whole entire process. So nothing can be, it's not going to be missed because they wouldn't let us move on to the next step.
Okay. That's good to know. Are there, you're pretty much in you have builds in every county throughout the capital region, right? Albany, Saratoga, Rensselaer. Are there any, Schenectady? Are there any counties where you're not building or haven't built?
Like out towards Canada-Harry, I don't think we built ever out there.
So you haven't gone out Fulton, Montgomery. It's a little far, right?
No, I built Montgomery County, but not Fulton County.
Not Fulton County.
Yeah. So, we pretty much built in pretty, maybe not Essex. I don't think we built
Mhm.
ever in Essex, but like Warren County, Montgomery County, Schenectady County, Albany County, Saratoga, Rensselaer, all those.
Okay.
We built it
Uh,
over the years.
I know you do single family homes. Do you do any condos or townhouse developments?
Yeah, we built over thousands and thousands of townhomes and condos
Okay. All right.
over the years. We pretty much don't build condos that much anymore. When back in 2008, 2009, when they
Mhm.
became non-warrantable, that was a really hard time for our business when the recession hit. And I remember I would jump banks. I would have contracts on these units, and then the banks would be like at the closing table, like we're not financing this. And then I'd be sitting there with a client, and I have to go run to a different bank to try to get financing because they're non-warrantable. So we kind of stay away from the condos now.
Mhm.
But we do a lot of townhouses. We do apartments. I'm working on a big apartment project right now. I
Mhm.
have. I actually just wrote a contract on it a little, like literally before I came on here. That we're looking to build, and then I'm also working on a high rise in the city of Saratoga as we speak. We also have some lots right next to the hospital in downtown Saratoga,
Okay.
Van Dorn Street, that we're going to be building, like brownstones, which they're going to be really, really nice. They're on a dead end street on Van Dorn Street. So we're all over the map. We're building houses on Lake George and Saginaw Lake. We're building developments. We're building multi-families. We can pretty much do whatever the client is looking for us to do for them.
I want to go back to something, you said that your project is financed by the company, right? So they don't have to get a new construction loan. But do you want them to secure a pre-approval or loan before you put
Oh
shovel in the ground?
yeah.
Okay.
We want a mortgage commitment.
You want a mortgage commitment prior.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But they
Well,
don't have to.
prior. I'm gonna sit down and meet with them
Okay.
and go over everything that they're looking for
Mhm.
and come up with a price. They need a pre-approval before they meet with me. I won't meet with anybody without pre-approval.
That's what I
So
meant. Okay. So they still need a pre-approval.
yep, they need a pre-approval, and then what will happen is that they'll enter into a contract, and then that contract will go to the bank, and then they'll get mortgage commitment. But in the meantime, they're picking all their selections, their plans are being drawn, and then then we'll start construction.
Okay. All right. And how do you maintain the communication between you and the client throughout the process? Not you specifically, but your company.
My company,
Are they getting an update?
they're usually speaking to them at least every other day.
Oh, really?
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Some people make it seem like I haven't talked to my builder in weeks, and that's probably the case. I don't know.
At a certain point, like up towards in the beginning, it's almost every day, and
Mhm.
then once we start doing the framing and the foundation, so I would say from clearing the lot until like the first floor is on, there's really
Mhm.
no communication. So that might be like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But then we got to set up the electrical walkthrough where the clients come in, they get to pick out where all their lights go in the house. So then they're back on the job again. So it's periodically. It's
Okay.
periodically, but it's in the beginning. It's almost every other day.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Do you see any future trends that you're seeing a lot more than you saw in the past? Are there any trends coming up?
Black windows. Everybody wants black
Black.
windows.
Wait a minute. Did you say black windows?
Black windows. Yep.
Is
They're
that like
doing
my
white
tenant, like a tinted out Tahoe or something like that?
The frames of the windows
The
black.
frames of the windows are black. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
No, it
No,
looks really sharp. They do white siding with black windows. It looks nice.
I like it. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. You're right. As soon as you said the White House with the black windows, I've seen that. Any other
Yep.
trends with interiors or countertops or furniture?
Yeah,
I remember
I
for a
would
quick.
say within the last like 10 years, I
Mhm.
don't see people do 2 and a quarter inch hardwood anymore. They're
Okay.
doing they're mostly all doing the Cortex or the LVT, which is the luxury vinyl floor.
Hmm.
When you get into the Cortex, it's scratch resistant. Excuse me, it's scratch resistant and waterproof.
Okay.
My last 3 houses that I personally built for myself, that's all I put in. It's great with kids. It's great with animals, and it's very, very, very durable. Where I see a lot of people doing it too is that they do the walkout basement.
Hmm.
They're going to make their downstairs into an area for their pool. They're going to use that
Right.
as like their little clubhouse, which I recommend. On some of our lots, we have these walkout basements, so you don't have to build a whole $90,000 or $150,000 pool house. You can just utilize your basement because it's a
Hmm.
walkout, and you put the bar in there, and you put all that Cortex for it's all waterproof. So you have
Yeah.
everybody ducking in and out. It's fine. It's all
Yeah.
waterproof. So I see it, and then upstairs too. With the animals and the pets, it's just very very durable. There's a lot of different textures and colors to pick from.
Hmm.
So I would definitely look into the Cortex flooring if you're looking to do a new build. Take totally advantage of that.
Speaking of water, I'm not seeing many new constructions on lakefronts. Is it because there's no land available? Or what's going on with that?
Beachfront property is the most expensive real estate. That could be the start of it. I live on Saratoga Lake. I live right on the lake, and most of the lots around there start at 250, and that's for a little postage stamp. And you
Yeah.
got to rip down, and you got to rip down, and you got to rip it down. So there's another $30,000 to $40,000 to rip it down.
I'm seeing more commercial appliances. I'm starting to see more Vikings and things like that in kitchens, Blue Star ranges and things like that. Is that something that you're seeing more of as well?
We do see them. We do see them. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I would say that. Yes. Not. I'm going to say every build. I would say maybe like they're expensive. Those appliances.
Yeah.
They're as much as a car.
I know they are.
You get some of those refrigerators and stoves. They could be $10,000 to $30,000. They're
Mhm.
not cheap. But if you get somebody that likes to, I just put a whole kitchen in my Stafford Way. Excuse me, in my Olympia Garden. They have a full commercial kitchen. They probably spent $60,000 on appliances.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's a real cool experience.
Do you ever have people come to you with their own drawings?
Yes, all the time.
And do you say that you're crazy? This is not happening.
No. We'll
Okay.
build it. Yeah, I'll
You
send
build it?
it.
Okay.
It might not be. It might not be like I have to send it to our architect to be structurally sound. But I'll give you an example. That one of the biggest houses we ever built right here on North Broadway in
Mhm.
downtown Saratoga, next to the Riggy Mansion.
Yeah.
That was drawn at a bar. Actually, it was drawn at Max London's on a piece of paper. That's how it started.
There is you've probably driven by it a few times. You ever see that black house that's kind of circular? It's
Where?
all black. It's black brick or stone, black windows. I'm like, why would it looks like a hideout. It looks like back when Michael Vick tried to hide the dog compound. It was like,
I have not seen it. Where was it? What town was it in?
I can't remember. I was actually coming from one of Dominic Marcasello's listings, and I happened to pass by, and I was like, "Why is that house hidden back in the trees?" And it was all black. When I find out, I'll let you know.
All right.
It's worth driving by. You talked about warranties, which is very important. What about energy efficiency? Is that a staple of yours? Is that something that you guys are getting big into?
Yes. So what we do is we do an R49 in the roof and an R21 in the walls.
Okay.
Anybody with any kind of business set or any kind of building experience, they'll be like, well, they can't get an R49 in the roof. They only make an R38 back. So higher the R value, the better the insulation. But
Okay.
the only thing that you need to realize with higher the insulation is that you have to have the proper airflow with the insulation. So if insulation is like a pancake, it doesn't work.
Okay.
It needs to have airflow so that it works so that it performs properly. So what we do is we do an R49 in your roof. How we accomplish the R49 is that we do an R38 back. So the insulation back goes up inside. That's with the paper on the bottom of it, and we nail that to the trusses, and then we spray in all loose insulation over it. It's called cellulose, all over the top, and that fills in all the voids. And then what we use is a rise heel truss.
Okay.
Rise heel truss on the outside wall. So your trusses are going to run like a bridge. Where the trusses lay on the side wall, we're putting a fatter boot on that truss to pick those trusses up higher so that the insulation is getting the proper airflow. I would So we do that, and then our insulation inside the house is an R21. What we do very differently too, that I don't see a lot with other builders, is we fully frame in your basement 2 foot on center, and we do an R13 bat. We
Okay.
pull the insulation away from the wall 4 inches, so the insulation doesn't touch the wall. So now you got your airflow, and our houses are, way more efficient than I would say than most of the competition, just because of that reason there. The insulation in the basement, what most builders will do is they'll take a piece of wood bridging, which is called KD. Wood bridging only comes in a KD product, where it's called Kill Dry. If you put it in a cup of water, it's going to swell and get mildew and everything on it. That wall in your basement in the Northeast gets wet. Like when you get out of the shower, it gets a little bit of mist on it.
Yeah.
Like when your mirror gets out, when you have the hot steam, that's what it does. That's what it does in the summertime here.
Okay.
And with that KD product right against that concrete wall, it's just sucking in that moisture into that piece of furring. So what we do is we don't do that. We pull it away from the wall. We use a piece of pressure treated on the bottom as a plate and a pressure treated at the top as a plate. And then we start our wall with our studs, and then we lay the insulation inside the studs. The studs and the insulation never touches that wall.
Okay.
So you'll never have a wet mildew basement with us at Bordeaux Builders.
Do people ever ask you to do solar panels with your build?
They have not.
Okay.
They usually do it after the fact if they're going to do it. A lot of our developments are very anti-solar panels, or they have to be on the back of the house. We won't allow them on the front of the house.
What about building solar farms next to the development?
That's fine. That's fine. But I haven't run into that in my career yet.
I've run into that. Good. That's good. That's good. So really, I mean, I think you've answered a lot of the questions. Is there anything that I missed that people should know about with new constructions?
Come and meet with us. Spend 1 hour with us. This would be the biggest investment of your life, and we put out a great product. We stand behind our product. Our customer is always right within reason. We want to make sure that you're happy. My father always taught me as a young boy, you do a good job, you're going to tell one person. You do a bad job, you're going to tell 20 people for the next 20 years.
100%.
We've been in business a lot longer than 20 years. So that tells you how good of a job we're doing.
Tell us how to get in touch with you, Joe.
You can reach me at BordeauxBuilders.com, or you can get in contact with me. My cell phone's 518-860-4603. But the best way is just to go to BordeauxBuilders.com. All my information's on there. And I'm more than happy to sit down with any realtors with their clients and meet with you guys at any time. If you know of anybody that is looking to build on their own lot, that's our forte too. We'll pay a commission on the house. Not a problem.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Joe Bordeaux. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I know you got a busy day. You can get back to it. I will talk to you later, man. I'll see you out there, all right?
All right. Thank you so much, Chris.
Take care, brother. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was another episode of the Real Estate Happy Hour with Joe Bordeaux, Vice President of Bordeaux Builders, licensed associate broker with Keller Williams Realty. You know how to get in touch with him. Even if you just have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to him and just, hey, I have a new construction question, or go see one of his sites and pretty much go from there. Other than that, it's been a great show. I learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot. Remember, this is a YouTube. It'll be a podcast as well. And I also do reels and shorts and things like that. I think I have a lot of information to do some great reels and shorts. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys on the other side. Call me if you want to be interviewed about something special that you do and that I haven't shared with the public already. And we'll go from there. I'm always looking for people to interview. And I got quite the list lined up of people to talk to. Talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Real Estate Happy Hour. Chris Wright, sponsored by Premium Mortgage today. Thank you.